Hi, with this lecture, we're going to go over the second part of Chapter 1 as we talk through business intelligence, analytics, and data science. So the first important thing is to talk about what our definition of the word analytics is. And what's really key is that we start to take a look at analytics as a simple process. And more importantly, that process derives some kind of actionable decisions or recommendations that we can take action on that is generated from some type of historical data. Now, this fits really well with the Institute of Operations Research and Management Science, or otherwise known as INFORMS. And they add to it the use of computer technology, because computer technology helps that process. And nowadays, with the large amounts of data that we deal with, computer technology allows us to be able to crunch those numbers and be able to come up with some kind of insights for those decision making. And management science techniques involves decision making, and that statistics is the process of being able to crunch that data. So these definitions kind of complement each other in that respect. So analytics also occurs in a multitude of contexts, and for the purpose of our course, we're going to focus specifically on business analytics. So we're going to focus on that process of taking data to make better decisions. And you might have heard in the past the idea of data-driven decision making. And the whole idea is that you take a look at something that happened in the past and you try to use the information there to come up with some type of result. So if we do these type of things, we're going to end up, in this location. However, with that same data, we might be able to determine that we might actually work out a different solution. So if we take different actions using the same data, we come out with that different outcome. So that becomes a very important aspect when it comes to using historical data and analytics. Now, we divide analytics into three areas. We divide it into descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. And of course, one is dealing with what happened, the other is what will happen, and the last is what should I do about it. And very commonly, people take a look at these types of analytics in terms of the amount of dollars that you might gain from being able to institute one of these analytic tools against the amount of risk, or you might consider the level of probability or the reduced probability that it takes to be able to conduct one of these. And so typically descriptive analytics is low risk and also low dollars. Predictive is kind of in the middle, and then prescriptive, and I'm going to put a little RX here, has a higher amount of risk, higher amount of investment, but also you can generate a lot more revenue if you institute some of the prescriptive analytic techniques. We'll talk about some of this in the future, but the whole idea is all of this starts to generate a path. When you're an organization, you're going to start with the easy descriptive analytics, then move to predictive, and then lastly to prescriptive analytics. So here's some deeper dive into each one of those three types of analytics. What's really important here is when we start to take a look at the enablers. The enablers for descriptive analytics, we're going to focus a lot with this course on data warehousing, and of course some of these tools here, the business reporting, dashboards, and scorecards. These nowadays are a little bit more like visual analytics. You've probably already heard of some of these other terms of data mining, text mining, and forecasting, and maybe even web media mining. We'll talk about these briefly as well. And then, of course, in that prescriptive area, that's when we get into optimization, simulation, decision models, and expert systems. Right? And some of these overlap. So sometimes you might use optimization for, not optimization, but simulation for predictive analytics. Optimization could work as well, but really more simulation works in that arena. All right, so first we'll kind of look at descriptive analytics, and as I mentioned before, it's a measure of what happened, and we're using historic data. Some of the tools that we're going to focus on this semester is going to be dealing with OLAP, or online analytical processing. And this really is a function that is derived from the use of data warehousing. This supports the future use of data mining and basic what-if spreadsheet models. Also, it helps with data visualization, dashboards, and scorecards, and it gives us those tools to provide basic descriptive statistics on our data. Now, predictive analytics is what is going to happen or what is likely to happen. And remember, this is all about probability. You know, just because it says it has an 80% chance that something will happen, there's still a 20% chance that it won't. Right, and so this is the mindset is to kind of predict the future or predict certain outcomes. You know, we use data mining, text mining, forecasting, and we use data from surveys. You know, asking customers, you know, what they prefer, maybe what they've purchased in the past, and use these in combination to be able to predict how the market is going to act. So lastly is prescriptive analytics, and it is going to give us an idea of what's the best action to take. You know, a lot of times if you have like product A and you want to compare it to product B, and you want to say which one of these, if I make, will make me more money, right? So a maximization type of problem. So using prescriptive analytics, we can run some optimization models that will be able to tell us which of these models or which of these products to build. We might even find out that it might be better to build 10 of product A and then maybe 15 of product B, and that will give us the most amount of profit. And we'll talk about the limitations of this as well. But this helps. This is an example of optimization modeling and some simulations as well. Does some decision analysis in terms of risk, and also we can use some rules of thumbs from experts. So if an expert might be very familiar with certain situations that happen in the market, so they might have some basic rules to follow. So this is what we call, you know, that whole idea about expert knowledge. All right, there's an example in our textbook that looks at the retail value chain. Given the fact that we're about 7.5 minutes into this presentation, to cut this presentation short, or excuse me, this video short, I'm going to pause right here, and I will pick up from this slide in the next video.